Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your astrology forecast for Wednesday, June 28th of 2023. Thanks for joining me in this video, and I trust that you guys are having a wonderful week so far. So let's go ahead and hop right into it, shall we? Well, guys, we begin the day off with that moon having ingressed into Scorpio. Yeah, not fun. The moon much rather be in Taurus. Doesn't really care. Doesn't really like being in Scorpio. So emotionally, things are about to get deep, and it really, I guess, depends upon the expression of this moon. Is it going to be the deep, fiery kind of emotion that we feel, or is it going to be the distant, icy, out there kind of emotion that we're feeling? So it's going to be interesting, especially with the moon going to be on the south node, going to be opposing the north node. There's definitely going to be this element where we may want to almost like seep back into old paradigms and old patterns, old desires and stuff like that, and seek those out and see if there's any juice left there. There's definitely an element of that. Now that Venus and Mars have moved past Black Moon Lilith, we are definitely really being called into our hearts right now to really express ourselves, um, which is it's a beautiful aspect too. Granted, Venus is still moving slow. She's moving like how fast is she even moving right now? Like, let me check real fast. She's moving like what? About 40 minutes a day. So she's moving less than a degree a day. She's not moving very fast at all. Mars is moving faster. Mars is moving fast. Jupiter's moving fast. Neptune is starting to slow down. So that's the thing too. We're going to start to see energy start to slow down. But that moon in Scorpio, there's definitely going to be this element where we're going to have like these deeper emotions, and figuring out how to navigate all of this, especially with that sun in Cancer, it can be a bit tricky. Whenever the moon goes into Scorpio, it's definitely a time to really pay attention. Pay attention to where we are emotionally invested, because it's through these investments that we are really going to start to learn, where our vibration is, where we are. You know, it's important to pay attention to these signals, right? Now, the main thing about today is that the energy is going to be building up to this grand water shrine that's going to be happening. The moon in Scorpio, Saturn in Pisces, and the sun in Cancer. We also have to remember Mercury is speeding up, catching up to that sun in Cancer. Essentially, Mercury is chasing after the sun. They're running on the beach, right? And the sun's moving forward at their own pace. Mercury's like desperately trying to like catch up. Like, yo, hold on, I got a message for you. And but Mercury's running on the beach. So it's interesting too how even though Mercury is moving fast, it's still in a water sign. So there's definitely going to be this element really where our our mental state can trigger our emotions, and our emotions can trigger our mind really easily right now. The other thing about the moon going into Scorpio is that the veil is rather thin. The different like the barriers for that. So some of you guys may experience more psychic phenomenon generally whenever the moon goes into any water sign, but especially with it being here in Scorpio on the south node opposing the north node, there's definitely going to be this element where the veil is going to be a bit thinner. So definitely be careful about that and not allowing negative entities to take over your body and stuff. And it's not when I say negative entities taking over your body, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're just going to become possessed like in all like those weird scary movies. But no, it just don't allow negative entities to rob you of your energy and to take you down into a weird spiral, because there's actually a lot of beautiful energy to today, but there are going to be some challenges that are going to come up and be proposed. But these challenges are going to give you the opportunity to grow, evolve, level up. That's the thing about this. What's interesting about the trine, especially like a grand trine, whatever element that you have it in, is that it's often an energy that we take for granted, because it's such a harmonious aspect. And a lot of times when we have like these very harmonious aspects, be it a trine or sextiles, they're sort of like these great opportunities, these great blessings that are bestowed upon us by the universe. And a lot of times it kind of is like four cups energy. We can't even see what is being given to us. What's great about this great water trine, though, is that it actually is going to form something called a kite. And I'll show you what that is just here at a moment. So another thing I want you to pay attention to is that we still have this sextiling energy. The sun is building up to the sextile with Jupiter. And while Saturn is moving backwards and Jupiter is moving forwards, and that energy is sort of, separating, there's still the two largest planets. So there's still some influence there. And this influence is even going to be this influence is going to be amplified. It's almost sort of going to be like a sort of second wind. We're going to see sort of like a second wind of this sextiling energy between Jupiter and Saturn, because by virtue of the trine that is forming, right? So as you move this moon forward, you're going to see it come to 7 degrees of Scorpio, right? This is going to be towards the end of the day. So it's going to build up to this energy, right? So Moon at 7 degrees Scorpio, Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces, and the Sun having freshly ingressed into the seventh. God, I can't even speak. The 7th degree of Cancer. So bam, 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 we get the grand water trine. Now, what's interesting about this is that you can see that the moon is getting ready to also oppose Jupiter in Taurus. So it creates this trine and a kite energy, because you have this sextiling energy, the budding sextiling energy between the Sun and Jupiter, which would come exact tomorrow, or I'll say like 24 to 36 hours. And then, of course, you have Saturn here, like I said, loosening, but it is powered up by the fact that the moon is trining this energy as well. So there's sort of like this reactivation of that energy of the whole Saturn and Jupiter thing. And what's great about this trine is that because there's a kite here, there's going to be an added layer of electricity, if you will. I'm getting like this image, like the whole flying the kite with the key and stuff like that too. I don't know why that image is coming up, but that's just what is coming up right now. A lot of it could have to do with the fact that we do have literally Chiron here that is making a trine over to Venus as well. That trine is finally tightening, even though Venus is moving very slow. That aspect is happening with the 19 degrees. So there's definitely this element, right, where we are being given so much by the universe. We are being shown so much by the universe. But the difficulty that's going to come in is this whole this moon being a Scorpio, which is already going to be a very deep and intense, and there's definitely the moon of Scorpio is kind of a brooding moon, if you will, right? And then it's going to pose Jupiter and Taurus, right? And this is going to definitely are wanting many ways our desires and our investments to look a certain way. And if they don't look a certain way, we can definitely feel some type of way about it, right? But then you have Jupiter opposing this moon, which is going to remind us is like, hey, this is not, there's definitely this element with the moon going over the south node where we might be looking for some sort of quick fix to this energy. But once it opposed Jupiter, it's going to remind us like, hey, these things take time. This story that we're writing, this journey that we're on is going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, and that can be frustrating for a lot of people. It can be frustrating, especially when we live in such a fast society where it's like our attention spans are so low. We go for like these quick fix kind of energies, quick real kind of energies, and no one can even just sit down and silence anymore. No one can sit down and listen to the birds chirp anymore. Like no one can just sit down and read a book anymore. It's even hard for me to freaking read a book. I'd much rather listen to a podcast, right? But it's just like it's so hard now to just slow down and to smell the roses and to smell the flowers and to listen to the bees buzz and the birds chirp and listen to the trickling stream. It's so hard to do that because we are so inundated by instant gratification, We're so inundated by instant gratification. But this moon opposed Jupiter is going to remind us of our commitments too. Because we got to look 777, so lucky number 7. It's going to be a very spiritual trine. That's why I'm saying like you want to be careful with this trine and to not allow these negative entities and forces really come in and dictate your energy today. I would probably stay away from anything that's like too mind altering too. Like I just don't think this is like it's hump day. I don't think this will be a really great day to really go too far with like the drinking or any type of other substances, just because this energy is going to be potent. We're going to feel it build throughout the day. The fact that the moon's coming over the south node, it'd be one thing because like the moon moves so fast, so the aspects to it don't necessarily last that long. But the fact that it hits the south node before it even gets to the spot, there's definitely going to be this element where it's like we're going to be sort of enticed with different things, different desires. It's like a carrot's going to be dangling in front of us. Are you going to go for that carrot? Gosh, man, like that's the thing about this. Are you going to go for the carrot that's being dangled in front of your face and you don't even know how the carrot was grown? Or are you going to go for the carrot that you grew yourself with love, you know, and sweat, maybe even blood and tears? But which one are you going to go for? That's the thing about this, right? Are you going to just simply go and, you know, get the easy fast food kind of energy? That's the other part about this. We don't even talk about the fact that Taurus rules food. So it's like, yeah, are you going to go for like the fast food kind of energy today, or are you actually going to get into the kitchen and cook something? You know, True. I one thing that I've been wanting to do is start making bread, like make my own bread. Finally got like a nice little bread pan, everything like that. So that's the thing about this. You know, this is not a time to be indulging in the fast food kind of energy. Now, if you happen to eat fast food today, it is what it is, right? I still eat fast food from now and again. Here, at least in Georgia, I don't know if wherever you guys are, but one of my favorite places is Zaxby's. I freaking love Zaxby's. So, am I going to have Zaxby's tomorrow? Probably not. But I mean, I could. I don't know. Work at pizza. I don't freaking know. But I'm just saying that overall, this energy is sort of like fast food energy. And then, like, the frustrations could come in where we may complain as like, oh, how come the quality isn't there? You know, how come they're not? How come like that's one of my biggest pet peeves actually is like going through a drive-through and you can just tell that the people don't want to be there, and they probably don't, right? But you are theirs. I feel like it's better to just make the best of the situation because, I mean, let's not get it twisted. You know, we all have things that we're striving for, but you're not always going to be doing your dream job, especially when you're young, whatever like that. Seldom you are. So it's like there's this element where like you got to pay your dues in many ways, you know, but it's like when I go through the drive-through and I can tell that they just simply don't care, whatever like that. I'm like, yo, come on now. But it makes my day when they're actually are smiling, happy, engaging with you. And I try to be engaging back to them as well. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. You know, that keeping that positivity going, even if we find ourselves in situations and places that we don't necessarily want to be. You don't have to change everything overnight just because like you become aware or you have this conscious realization as like, you know what, it's time for me to move on or to move to a different place. There's no, you don't have to you don't have to be in a sort of negative emotional state just because you realize that, just because you realize that you have to make some sort of change. There's none, you don't have to do that, right? It is, you don't have to be like, I'm only going to feel better once I'm out of here or at this different place or at this different job or at this different kind of relationship or whatever. Like choose to feel happy now. And that's the thing about this too, because once that moon hits 8 degrees, it's all about choice because 8 is the number of Saturn in numerology. So yeah, it's especially with Saturn being retrograde in Pisces. Like I said, she's on vacation right now. She's not answering a lot of questions right now. She's pushing things off to her aide, if you will, her right hand person, right? And it's not like they know everything that Saturn's going to want to do or say and stuff like that, or encourage or work on and stuff, right? The 8 is more busy attending to Saturn, making sure that she has her margaritas filled and everything like that, making sure that she's good, making sure she's not burning up in the sun and stuff like that. Because Saturn's on the beach just chilling. Right? So there's definitely, there's going to be this element where it's like we can come to like a conscious decision, just deciding to be happy, regardless of the external circumstances, regardless of all this sort of stuff. Also realizing our inner world and how important that is, how important it is to maintain the peace within our inner world and knowing who we are on a soul level, right? Despite the fact that, yeah, maybe there's an aspect of ourselves that's kind of slowing down and it needs to slow down because there's such a heart issue in the world right now, right? There's such a heart issue in the world, not just from like a love aspect, but just in general, with all these different weird cardiac events that are happening. There's an issue with the heart. So Venus slowing down in Leo and then retrograding in this space is quite is going to be quite revelatory, you know, because a lot of people are simply they're not doing what they love to do, right? They're not doing what they love to do. They may hate their job, they may hate the circumstances of their life, and they have gotten fixated in their head that it has to be this way, and it doesn't. But here's the thing, too. Even if you find yourself in a situation where you're realizing that some change needs to happen because that is what your soul is wanting, that's what your heart is wanting, right? Just because you don't have to change everything overnight. It's not going to change overnight, A, but B, decide to be happy now, even if you aren't in the place that you want to be. Just deciding to be happy right now and finding those reasons to be grateful is what's going to get you through this moment. And the universe will carry you to the place when you need to be in that place and at the right divine timing. There's definitely a let go and let God kind of energy with this day, with the grand trine that's happening here, with the sun in Cancer moving forward, for Mercury speeding up and catching up to the sun. And there's definitely going to be this element where it's like we have to let go and let God, this relinquishing, knowing ourselves, knowing what's right within our soul, but also relinquishing to the point where we trust the universe, we trust God is guiding us in the direction that we need to go. So, ultimately, I think it's going to be a very beautiful day. I really do. I think it's like I said, and I think just in general, we all need to take time to kind of just focus on the inner world, focus on our sanctuary, focus on our peace, you know, focus on those things that make us feel good right now, right? The things that make us feel good that aren't going to like really bring our energy down, if you will, or plague us or lead us into some weird dark back alleys and into some weird situations, right? Take time for yourself to, do you, right? Yeah. Perfect time to take yourself out on a date. Just you by yourself. You ever just go to a sit down restaurant, eat by yourself? It's one of the most relaxing and peaceful things that you can do. That would be better than just going to get fast food. Unless you get maybe you get some fast food or something like that, and then you go home and maybe watch like a movie or something like that. But yeah, shoot, treat yourself to like a nice dinner or lunch. Just go out to eat by yourself. That's this kind of energy, yo. Yeah. Shoot. All right, let's see what cards we have. So I have the Two of Wands. Yep. Got the Two of Wands. I also have the Seven of Wands, followed by the Three of Wands. We got all wands. Yeah, so there's definitely what I'm feeling like is like there's this thing that's holding us back from going from the Two of Wands, which is trying to decide a certain path, right? And then the Three of Wands, which is sort of looking out and just like wondering, like, okay, now what? It's like you've committed to one path, and then you get to like this cliff, and then it's like another decision. Then you have this Seven of Wands energy. It's like right in the middle, and it shows like a fox, and like I'm not sure what animal this is, like a badger or something like that. And the fox is, of course, defending his family, right? The badger's trying to probably, I don't know, maybe trying to eat like the kids or something like that. But yeah, there's definitely this element where we feel like we may be defending ourselves against certain ideologies, certain people. There's it sounds like we're what it feels like is a word. I feel like we might have to be almost like defend our journey, defend our actions. It's almost like the Two of Wands. Like we've already made the decision of what direction to go, and now we're having to defend that to certain people. But that's the thing about it. They're not you. They don't know. They don't necessarily know what's best for you, and that can be difficult too, especially if it's people that are close to us, loved ones and stuff. But even though you have made the decision on which way to go with that Two of Wands energy, and even though you feel like you are having to defend your actions, you're still just chilling on the cliff. Like he can't really go anywhere unless he just jumps down and flies, whatever like that. He still has to keep going and actually go into the valley and stuff. So the journey's not over. Just because you made the decision and know which way to go, at the crossroads and stuff like that, doesn't mean that it's over. But you don't have to defend yourself to anyone. You just have to be you. Um, Shoot, I need to post like there's like a really great song I want you guys all to listen to. Um, but I think it encapsulates this energy. It's like, you know, um, the name of the song. Let me look it up real fast. So I'm trying to remember the name of the song off the top of my head, but for some reason I can't remember. The name of the song is "It's Still Love" by Draper and Behold the General. This was an album that came out in 2016, mind you, by Draper on this AWL. You can find it on Spotify. But I was listening to some music earlier, just kind of vibing, listening to new music, playing FIFA and stuff, and having my me time, right? But I think about this album at least several times a year. This album was actually major for me in my life, especially when I was out in Colorado. It was an album that really got me through a lot of dark things and stuff like that. But yeah, it's still love. It's like even though these people may not necessarily agree with your decisions, whatever like that, you can, in many ways kind of find yourself parting ways with these people. And it can be a bit sad. It can be a bit bittersweet, but at the same time, it's still love. It's still love. No love lost. Just keep moving forward. Stay focused. Smile often, right? And there's no love lost. That's what I'm hearing. There's no love lost here. Let's get the oracle card too to see what are the supporting energies that we have. So. Okay, we have, ooh, look at this. Joy and delight. I love that. Open your heart to joy. Yep. Open your heart to joy. There is no need for you to defend yourself. Just simply shine and be who you are. It may perturb some people. Your light may be too bright for some people. They may not necessarily understand and get the changes that are happening in you in the metamorphosis. They are being taken over. Those are agents. Those are agents of the system. They're coming and trying to make you dim your own light. But that's because that's the thing. They can't dim your light. Only you can dim your own light in response to those external factors. But no one can dim your light but you. Just like no one can shine your light like you, but you. All they can do is try and tell you and coerce you and encourage you to either dim or turn up your light, right? Turn up. But this is going to be a day where we really want to open our heart to that joy and that passion and open ourselves up to our own soul and let that divine spark energy come through. I know a lot of times I speak in like these like kind of like very positive, fluffy terms, like calling us everyone infinite sparks of the divine and stuff. And I really do believe all that. But I'm also not going to shy away from some of the darker realities. The fact that we are in a spiritual war, there's a major separation that's happening between people. You probably are finding yourself just not is you're not vibing the same with certain people in your life, and that can feel rough, especially like close people, like loved ones, friends, family members. You can feel yourself separating, but there's no love lost there, right? We all have our own journeys, and we all are going to experience this awakening in our own timing, stuff like that. The universe is going to allow it to happen that way. And we can sometimes try and force like a star shaped, puzzle piece into like a square circle, and it's just not going to fit, you know, just like how you may be boxing yourself into being a certain way, and you're saying that you're a star seed or whatever like that, but then it's like you're trying to shove this star piece into a square box, and it's not going to work because you're not something that can just be easily contained like that. But no one said it was easy. No one said that this path was easy. That's why it's important to have the joy and the delight and have that lightness, because it's going to be through that. you know it's like an angel. She's like having fun, you know what I mean? Have fun today. Do something fun. Do something that, you know shoot, like one thing I thought about doing, like I thought about this earlier today, but I want to go find like a skate park because I have some inline skates here, and I haven't gone skating in a few months. I'm like, I have the day off tomorrow. I'm like, man, I'll go find some skates, or find like a skate park or something like that. Maybe like a skate rink or something. You know what I mean? Do something like that. Do something fun. You don't have to just like defend all the time. So many people are in defense mode right now. So many people are on the defense right now. Being on defense is tiring. It's so tiring always being on defense. And I'm a defensive player. That's what I played in football growing up. I was a defensive end, right? So I love defense. I love tackling people. I love getting to that quarterback and sacking them. I love getting to that running back in the backfield. But so many people are just on defense mode right now. And they just feel like there's this feeling of like being assaulted by the world. There's this feeling of being like just like wave after wave of when is it going to end? When is it going to end? But the way that you get through this is by trusting that you're being guided in the right direction, trusting that you have the strength and the capability to make it to this moment because you've made it through every single hard thing in your life. You're here, you're watching this. And when you realize that, and then of course you remember to appreciate the small things and have that joy and delight and to revel in that moment, man, nothing can tear you down. Not permanently, anyways. We may get torn down from time to time. We may break down from time to time, but so long as you remember that and like you put your trust and faith in something greater than yourself, I really do believe that. I do believe in God and stuff, and I feel like I'm guided to do this work here. But when you really put your trust and faith into something greater than yourself, and you begin to not fight against it, but work with that energy, because that's what it wants. That's what God wants. It wants us to work with it, work with the divine love. Then you start to see your life start to really blossom in a beautiful way. It's just not going to happen necessarily overnight, and that's the thing that we have to remember, So, um, yeah, that's going to do it for the astrology forecast for today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. If you would like to know how these transits are affecting you personally, be sure to check out my website and book a reading with me. I do astrology readings, tarot card readings, and oracle card readings as well. And I have different services. I have like an express tarot, and then I have like two different like length astrology videos, which I also do tarot and oracle. One is just tarot and oracle, and then the other two readings are going to include the astrology as well. But if you'd like to know how all these energies are affecting you personally, book a service with me over on my website, jfenixx.com. And I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Later. Adios. Sayonara.